Dum, 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 dum. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to welcome everybody to another episode of the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Underscore Dropping Dimes. For those of you that follow me on IG, it's Dropping Dimes, DROPNDIMES, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. So I was really excited about a show that I had set up for tonight. My buddy Pastor Fred was going to lead in and be a special guest. And him and I, we have a rich history together, and we constantly go back and forth about our beliefs when it comes to marriage, when it comes to religious doctrine, when it comes to marriage, and such. So it'll be a great episode. But shout out to Fred, but he's under the weather today, so he had to step out for a little bit. And he said he promised he'd come back and we'll do a fresh episode. So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to talk to him. He's somebody that as always thinks outside the box and challenges me, especially. Me and him are very like we butt heads, so I thought it would be a great show. So I'm gonna have to make a quick pivot today, and my pivot is I'm gonna talk about something that I keep popping up in my inbox. In my inbox, it keeps popping up. People keep asking about um, long distance relationships. Apparently, we're in a season where that's a big thing. Maybe coming into the summer, people went on vacation, met somebody. People came into the states, they met somebody, and they had a fling, a great time, instant chemistry. That whole nine. So I keep getting. I'm a good 5 to 10 questions in already, and they're all kind of coming in at the same time. So I wanted to address long distance relationships. I am a believer in long distance relationships that they can work, but they have to be done properly. All right, and there's some steps that you need to take. But I also want to talk to you about the pitfalls in regards to online dating and what some of the mistakes we make early on when we date online. There's always that honeymoon period in any relationship, but I find that in when dating, long distance, that honeymoon period is extended. And because we're so used to, getting past it in about the 6 month mark, 5 month mark, we kind of stop looking for the signs of anything new at about that point when you're in a long distance relationship. You figure a couple of things. Number one, we're choosing to be here. We're choosing to be here. Number two, the only thing holding us together on this thing is honesty and communication, right? Honesty and communication. So here's what I found. I found that long distance relationships often produce a false sense of intimacy when not when not properly handled. You essentially are two people that all you have is communication. So you talk and you let each other know every aspect of each other's lives, inside and out, the things that worry you, everything that's on your mind. And every day, if you have good news, bad news, you share it with that person, right? So you get that communication. That communication brings you really close together. So you feel like, I know this person. I know everything about them. Like, all right, this can't be real. How in love I am, how close I am. Now here's the deal. I do believe you love them when that happens, but I also believe that you only fall in love with 50% of somebody until you've actually physically spent time with them. So the long distance thing, even when and some of you are like, oh, but I went to go see her, she came to see me. We spent plenty. We played like sometimes in the beginning, everything is tourist and going out and hanging out and seeing the things that are in your town, and then eventually you guys got to settle in and maybe play a little bit of house. and you think that that is the substitute for spending day in and day out with somebody. Like with anything, when you first start dealing with somebody, even in a long distance relationship, you're usually dealing with their representative, the, the people that they highlight within themselves to you. A lot of times, the people that they want to be. A lot of times, it's the people that they aspire to be, but it's not necessarily who they are. So, for instance, somebody when you meet them and you're talking to them, and they're great, and you're like, wow, this person is the sweetest, most amazing. There's a lot of times where the woman can convince you that she has one position in her family, right? And in reality, when you go and you're there with her every single day, you're like, oh, you're the black sheep. I didn't. That didn't come through on the phone. You know what I mean? And then there's a million other things. So, like I was saying, it produces a false sense of intimacy, and you draw closer, and you kind of assume that you know everything there is to know about a person. The problem with that is, as humans, there's that interaction that we cannot live without, right? And the day to day is what also tells you what the hidden personality that. So I read a meme said people show three, they wear three masks. The one they show the public, the one they show in private, and then the one they show no one, right? So I've heard too many stories of people married 20, 25 years, and when they're done, they're like, I didn't even know that person. So to think that you could get to know someone flat out, in a long distance relationship just like that, no. In any relationship, time is your best friend. Time is your best friend because it's what's going to reveal the long, the that's what takes off the rose colored glasses. You know, I always worry whenever somebody is in this type of relationship and they caught in like a whirlwind. They get swept off their feet. It's this guy's everything I've ever wanted, everything I've ever needed. I pull back and I warn people. I'm like, slow down, because he may be everything you've ever wanted, ever needed over the phone. He may be everything you've ever wanted, anything you've ever needed over over the internet. But the truth is, can he be everything in person? Can he live up to the image that he has put out there for you? So let's examine this. How do these usually work? Boy meets girl, girl meets boy. They care, but they like each other. Instant chemistry. They decide, let's keep in touch. They start talking. They realize pretty soon that with the technology the way it is, the distance just doesn't feel the same. It's not like back in the day where you had to mail a letter and they had to mail you back, and you guys had to go back and forward to try to really be able to communicate. Now you flip your phone, I see your face, you see mine. Hey, what's up? What are you doing? Da da da. Time doesn't really matter anymore. We kind of the technology has really helped with that. So all of a sudden it goes from there to I'm gonna go visit your city. Oh, cool. We have a great time because what do? We do a lot of the touristy stuff. We do a lot of the cool stuff that she loves doing when she does go out, when he goes out. Same thing. She decides I'm gonna go visit you. And you guys get into a little cycle of going back and forth every couple of weeks, every couple of months to see each other, to spend time. Each time you guys spend together, you start to mistake the little bit of vacation time that you guys are spending together with real life quality time. The truth is, it's not even close. True life quality time is different, right? Because the excitement has worn off. The excitement has worn off, and all the glitter is gone on whoever you're with. Now you're dealing with who they really are. Now you're dealing with a person. Do they snore? Now you're dealing with a person where you got to ask yourself, is this person a good mother? You know what I'm saying? Now you're watching how they interact with their family. Oh, wow, they're the black sheep of their family. And for good reason. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you watch them, they're like, they had you convinced because they were coming in and out that they had their stuff together. And when you get back down here, you're like, oh, you your money's off. You're not really sure how to handle that, or you realize that there's other issues like substance or just maybe mental health. There's other things that you have to spend an amount of time, a considerable amount of time with someone. But I can literally bury um, long distance relationships. But I'm not going to do that here. That's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I want to talk about how do you make it work. The people that reached out didn't reach out for me to shit on their what they're doing. A lot of them reached out to be like, yo, I'm worried, I'm nervous, I'm scared. Do I give my all to this person? Do I dive in? What if it doesn't work? You know what I'm saying? What if I dive all in on this person and we realize that we it's just too far, it's too much, and we can't see each other or whatever. No, I get it, man. There's that whole nightmare side, and we're gonna cover that. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about that nightmare side where you need somebody, you need some, you want them, and they can't be there. But let's talk about how it can work. Number one, I don't think it's something that you put on the back burner. It has to be front and center in your relationship. The situation has to be front and center. It has to be right there in front of everybody when you guys are talking, and it has to be one of the first thing you guys address. We need to find out who is more mobile early on. Who is more mobile? Who's willing to make the sacrifice? Because sometimes you're with a woman and she has children. She just cannot get up and go. So you have to ask yourself, and you can't lie to yourself, am I willing to get up and move for this person? Am I ready to shape shift my life to a whole new location for this person? If the answer is yes, then okay, proceed with caution. If the answer is no, make your partner aware, and both of you need to really um, take a strong look and a strong stance and understand what the consequences of that situation could be. Somebody can end up really really hurt, because you get all involved, you get all lovey dovey. You're the one, I'm the one. Let's be together. This is it. This is it. This is it. Only for one person to say, "Oh, but I'm not moving," and the other person looking, "Oh, but I can't move." And before you know it, you're in love with somebody all the way across town, and it's not really headed anywhere. But that could be avoided. That could be avoided with early conversation. It has to be. And this is only if you're taking the person serious. A lot of people in long distance relationships are in those relationships, but they're not taking anyone serious. They're just basically, spending time, enjoying, and having fun. What do you call it? We have a comment here. Ms. Mato says, long distance relationships take a lot of work. Both parties need to be on the same page. Lots of honesty, loyalty, and respect come in. Yes, absolutely. See, the only reason you are there is because you chose to be. So there's no real reason to play any games. It's two people. The key is to get past that honeymoon phase that a lot of people, even in when in close proximity to each other, go through. So if an average couple takes 6 months to a year to get over that honeymoon phase and really take off the rose-colored glasses and start seeing the imperfections in their partner, I would say that it might take, through the long distance lens, I'm gonna, let's say, double that. I'm gonna say almost 2 years before you really, really, really are past that honeymoon phase. Because remember, every time this person comes out to see you, you're getting the best version of them. You're getting the weekend version of them. You're getting that Saturday night version of them. You're not getting Monday afternoon version of them. You're not getting stressful version of them. You're not getting behind on my bills version of them. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting uh, the highs, the lows. You're not getting the full gamut of emotions. What you're getting is vacation person. I'm out here. This is new. This is amazing. The world is at my feet. Let's have fun. Let's do this. And that person, anybody can fall in love with. How many times did I have to throw this out there? Love my darkness. My light is easy to love. When you're in a long distance relationship, a lot of times, all you get is the light. All you get is the light from people. So you got to combat that. How do you do that? Like I said, first and foremost, you have the conversation to make sure that you're dating with intent. You're not just spinning your wheels. You're not just spinning your wheels. You're dating with intent. We're like, look, what are we doing? We're two adults here. I like you. You like me. Okay, so we're gonna do this long distance thing. But what's the end game? You know what I mean? Especially if, and again, especially if you're a woman. I would say, especially if you're a woman. Now, again, I talk to generalities, and I'm sure there's plenty of women that they're like, nah, I wouldn't fall for that. But the truth is, women especially need to be guarded because men are like water. We take the path of least resistance. So if you make it easy for us to step out of town, hang out with you, have fun, come back, and we get too deep into that routine, are you kidding me? You mean I could have my cake and eat it too? You mean I could be at home, going out, doing whatever I want to do and lying to you and just whatever? And you're no, no way. You got to put your awareness on things. You got to make sure that the honesty, the loyalty, you got to make sure that these things are all in play heavy for you. How do you do that? How do you do that? Number one, like I said, you have to set the stage for what you want. Too often, a woman, too often women will play this cool role where they're playing it cool. I'm not gonna ask him. Like I'm not gonna try to. Like I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna put that on him. Because guys will convince you that all the women, all they ever do is nag and bitch, and they try to get you to settle down and lock it down. Why we gotta put a title? They're gonna say all that, right? And it's all in trying to get you not to do that. But in this particular case, it's important. It's so important that in a long distance relationship, not that you're asking him to be in a relationship with you, but you're asking them, what are we? What are we gonna be? Like, are we like? Tell me what we are today. Like, don't hold back. Like, are we effing around? Is that all we're doing? We're playing around. Okay, cool. Arm yourself with that information. Arm yourself with that information because it'll allow you how to approach and how deep you let your feelings go. I'm always very weary, right, about relationships that come in like a hurricane. They come in and they whoosh, whisk you off your feet. But if you've ever seen the destruction a hurricane leaves, you'd understand that why that's not a good thing. On the other hand, if you can have this situation where you guys move slow, but you move purposefully, you move in a manner that is conducive to growth, as in planning what's your next step. Maybe they're baby steps. Maybe they're okay. The next step is I'm going to go. The next step after that, I'm going to do this. The third step is I'm planning on moving into your town, to your area. And last but not least, we'll be together down there. Here's one of the common mistakes that people make. One of the common mistakes people make, right, when they're finally decided to be together, what they'll do is they move in together. Ladies and gentlemen, that might be the absolute worst idea you've ever had. It's to go from being long distance to moving it together. And again, I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule, but I'll be honest with you, it's a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea because you're essentially going from knowing 50% of them to living with 100% of somebody. And now you're not just living with this communicator, this person that spoke to you, said these nice words, was amazing. Now you're speaking to the person that takes 25 minutes to get out of bed because they're late. Now you're talking to the guy that likes to spend a little extra money on his gambling habit. Now you're talking to the guy, now you're dealing with the person day in and day out that they put the toilet roll the opposite way than you do. You know what I mean? Or when they go through the toothpaste, they don't go from the top. They go from the middle, smash it, and pull the toothpaste up. These little things, these little nuances that you do in your life on a regular basis are very important. That's the other 50% that you have to get to know. We have another comment. Most of the relationship end in failure. They end in failure because they're not planned out properly. They're not planned out properly. Even in the planning process, for a lot of people, they're planning with these high emotions. They're not planning with their brain. They're planning with their heart and with their emotions. So instead of establishing who's willing to move first, they wait on it. And then when finally they've had enough, then all of a sudden it's okay, one person makes the sacrifice, right? And that's what it is. It's a sacrifice that a lot of times after they make it, people are resentful. So that has to be a conversation early so that it's well thought out. So that when it's finally done, the person does not resent you and is not in your world, in your atmosphere. Okay, we still got some more comments here. People nowadays, people nowadays don't take the time to know one another in the physical. Exactly, and that's the point I'm trying to make. It's like you have to. The communication is great. The emotional attachment is great. Then there's the actual physical person that's in front of you. Like, let me tell you, it happens all the time. People just don't realize it on a smaller scale. A lot of people that date online will talk to somebody, right? And they'll be like, yo, this person is so dope. Oh my God, I love talking to them. They're amazing. They're so funny. This is so cool. Blah, blah, blah. Then they go on a date and the person's a complete spaz. And you're like, yo, what happened? There's no, what happened to that chemistry that was on the phone? Like, where'd it go? How come me and her or me and him, we're not connecting? You're not connecting because there's an energy. You forgot about the human energy, not just the one you get over the phone, the physical energy that you feed off of somebody and that they project. That's where we go wrong. And because when we're doing it early on, we're doing it vacation mode, that doesn't work. If I have advice, right, for somebody who started online dating, I mean not online dating, long distance relationships, I promise you, there's a couple of things that you can do that will automatically let you know or give you a better insight into who this person is. Remember, you need to see them when they're happy. You need to see them when they're stressed. You need to see them when they have money. You need to see them when they have no money. You need to see them when somebody can do something for them. You need to see how they act when that person can't do anything for them. You need to see who they are in front of the CEO. You need to see who they are in front of the waiter. These are all things that normally would happen in time, slowly, you know, but it's all kind of rushed. So my advice is this: in the future, what I would tell you is go on a long car ride together. Go on a long. Nothing will reveal the quirks, the habits, those little crevices, the little nuances that we're talking about another person, like a long car ride. In that long car ride, you're gonna tell, man, I don't like the way this person breathes. You're gonna be able to tell, you know what, this person, oh my God, the way they act when they're hungry, I don't like it. You're gonna be able to tell, oh my God, yo, like, they listen to music really loud. I'm more mellow. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they're up all night. I was tired. I was sleepy. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to go to. I'm a morning person. These are all things that you can find out. You know what I mean? And a long road trip is one of the best ways. You get in the car with somebody, take a 4 or 5 hour ride with them, and you'll be surprised how much you learn from somebody. It is insane, man. You start to see, man, especially when somebody's uncomfortable, when somebody's tired, when somebody just, you see it all. You see the full range of emotions in a short, compact time. So did that tell you everything? No, it does not. It does not tell you everything. There's still so much more, you know? So aside from getting to know the person, right, in communication, if you're in a long distance relationship, My advice to you is to look at the family. Examine the family, not just what they're telling you, right? Because everybody's the hero of their family. Everybody's the one that, oh, everybody comes to me and needs me and da da da. Everybody's that person, right? When they're talking about the self-describing. But if you take a look over their shoulder and you see what position they hold in their family, it will tell you a lot of the type of person you're dealing with. So if they're trying to sell you a bill of goods, like, no, I'm the responsible one. I'm the one that does this. I'm the one my mom comes to. My father goes to. I'm the one. I'm the one. I'm the one. And you look over her shoulder and she's not even. She's like the black sheep. She's the one that everybody can't count on to be on time. She's the one that, oh, somebody's gonna say something at dinner and it's gonna be her to start a fight, or she's gonna be the one. These are the things that come out when you start talking to family. Now, women, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Make sure that if he has more than one sister, you know which sister you're talking to. Okay? Have an understanding of which sister you're talking to. Because as a guy who has the full gamut of sisters, I can tell you it makes a huge difference to get to know me which sister you're talking about. If you're talking about my younger sister, that's a ride or die. She'll be like, yo, nah, not him. And I'll be doing whatever it is I'm saying I'm not doing. And she'll still defend me, still protect me. She don't care. She'll lie for me. I'll lie for her. That's our relationship. We hold each other down that way. I have my older sister. My older sister doesn't play that shit. If you want to know, right, you still can't go to her because it's not like she's going to give me up. She's just not going to, she's going to distance herself. She just does not communicate about me. She does not talk. You know, whatever. Then I have another one that if you want to know about me, yeah, go to her. And she'll tell you. She'll tell you everything you need to know. She'll tell you everything you know and sometimes a little bit more. And then you got to really figure out what's what. You know what I mean? So understand that even when you go to the family, you understand who you're going to. Because if you do not, you will find yourself, they are not the best source. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I hear this one a lot. Like, oh, no, I met his mother. Man, you don't even know. A lot of times his mother is the biggest pacifier. She's the one that lets him get away with murder. Sometimes you're like, no, I met his aunt. Understand this: in the beginning, you're gonna meet all the family that's accepting of his behavior, whatever it is, good or bad, positive, negative, whatever it is. That's who you're gonna meet in the beginning. Same thing for a woman. The people she's first gonna introduce you to is her first line. The people that she's cool with, the people that are gonna say nothing but good things about her. The people that she's gonna bring around later are the ones that are like not so quick. Why? Because now she figures you're in love with me now. Now you're stuck. You know what I mean? So my sister says, I was just going to say, siblings aren't always the best gauge. Absolutely not. No, they're absolutely not the best gauge. Mothers are not the best gauge. Fathers don't tend to. You got to understand, just understand that when you're getting to know somebody, you have to look into the family, but study it and understand what the dynamic is. That kind of comes at you pretty soon, pretty quick. Now, if they're not bringing you around family, if they're not bringing you around their friends, red flag, red flag, red flag, run. Because when somebody's on that level is into you at that level where they're like, yo, we're gonna intertwine these lives. You're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, you're over here, I'm over here. Then the first thing people want to do is like they're looking at you as somebody I'm gonna take serious. Well, let me introduce you to the people who's maybe I don't listen to their judgment, but in the back of my ear, I kind of pay attention to what they're saying and what they see. You know what I mean? And I might come back around and be like, hey, what'd you see? What was your opinion on that? Or what'd you notice? Anything. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do. But be careful. You have to that's an assessment that you have to make. Who am I talking to? Who's here? Who did he bring in the beginning? Who am I seeing later? If I was you, anybody, I would go to the people that you're seeing later. Because the later you see them, the more likely they are to tell you the truth about him or her. Okay. Now I'm not saying go snooping. Hey, whatever, whatever. No, I'm saying you go and you find out what's the position. What's the position within the family? You know what I'm saying? Who are you? And I'm not. And look, and I'm not shitting on the black sheep because sometimes that's what you want. I've always been attracted to that in my past. I've always found like that person interesting. So I'm not saying don't go down that road. That's fine, just because they're not the one that's whatever. But also don't be lied to. That's the main issue. Don't get lied to because again, the communication that you're getting is, oh, everybody always comes to me. I'm so stressed out. I do this. I do that. I do this. I do that. And then when you talk to the uncle's like, what? No, that's not how it goes. Everybody does it. And they give you the real story. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful because again, they're trying to paint themselves in the best light, but you don't want the best light. You want the real light. You want who they really are. That's what you really want. You don't want to be stuck on stupid thinking, oh, this person is A, when in reality they've never been A. They're definitely a B, and that's okay. And that's okay as long as they're honest. It's the honesty part that you need to check in with. You know, you also need to find out their habits, their healthy habits. Do they have healthy habits? These are things that look. I'll tell you the truth. These are things that up until you're close to somebody every single day and around them, you won't see. You won't see. They do a great way of hiding it. Somebody's an alcoholic, right? But every time you're around, they're happy and you put a smile on their face. And they're essentially treating you like a band aid for emotions that need stitches. So while you're around, they don't need the alcohol. Everything is cool. You're good. You're the substitute. You're literally the substitute for the alcohol, right? And while you're over there, I could manage a couple of weekends. I can manage a couple of hours. I can manage for a phone call to be sober. I know how to manage that. I'm a functioning, right? Now we start spending time together, lengthy amount of time together. Eventually, I'm gonna see that side of you. You cannot hide it forever, especially if you have a problem. I cannot hide it forever. You know what I'm saying? You also want to know, again, remember, you get the happy-go-lucky person in the early parts of a long distance relationship. What you want to see is what does this person look like when they're mad? When stuff doesn't go his way, when stuff doesn't go her way, what does she look like now? You don't want to find that out after you've already committed and you guys are together and you guys are all lovey dovey and thinking about moving in together and baby. And then all of a sudden he snaps and he flips and you find out, oh, he's beating like three of his ex girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? You need to know that early. These are the signs that you need to find. That's why I was saying about going on a road trip. Because when you go on a road trip, there's going to be times when people get aggravated. There's going to be times where people get all these things, and you'll be able to have a nice little glimpse of that. But that's the key. That's why time is so important. You know what I mean? And you essentially have to double. Now, don't get me wrong. Look, I know. There's been instances where the chemistry was so undeniable that two people said, "F it, I'm going to take the plunge," and they decided, "I don't care where you live, I don't care where I live, or I went to go look for you on the end of the earth to be with you." That happens. That does. So when I'm talking to you guys, it's more so about what some of the pitfalls could be, but also let's also keep it going back to how it can work. Because I'm a believer, I'm a hopeful romantic. I believe that it can work, right? So I want to give you more of that. Not only okay, so we've established that you have to establish who is more mobile in the very beginning. Not to say that that can't change, but who's the most mobile? Who can move when it's time to move? Okay. Number two, are you willing to move when it's time to move? Are you willing to move when it's time to move? Number three, is my way of life, my way of sustaining myself, my way of providing, is it sustainable where you live? I'm going there with no connections. I'm going there with no friends, no nothing. I got to start all over. Is what I'm doing paying, right, enough to take care of us, to handle our business, right? That's something people find out. A lot of times people will make the plunge. Oh, I'll figure it out once I get there. And then they get there and they're like, shit, man, I didn't realize West Bubblefuck doesn't pay like New Jersey. This sucks. They get frustrated. It starts to add to that frustration that they have. Again, who do you take it out on? The closest person to you. The arguments start, resentment starts, it just brews into like this whole other thing, right? So you have to make sure that that's one of the things that's covered. Can I live the lifestyle that I want and need in this place, in this new place, with this person? The next thing is, again, who and where they land within their family construct. Who are they within their family? Okay, what position do they hold? How are they viewed by the family members? Who are the first people that she introduced me to? She introduced me to. Who are the last people he introduced me to? These are the things that need to be put in play. This is how you make it successful because you find that out early. Okay, he introduced me to her. She must not mean as much because she's not as judgmental. And believe it, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean they don't love them because you could introduce them to your grandmother. You adore your grandmother, but you know you're your grandma's baby, and you're gonna get away with whatever. So she ain't never gonna rat you out, right? So in that case, that's not necessarily always even in that case. Pay attention to who they bring you to first. If they bring you to grandma, grandma's not the source. She's not a source. She's not necessarily a source that you want. So you pay attention to that. Pay attention to who the later relatives are. Those are the ones that he's kind of shying you from, keeping you away from a little bit by a little bit, just to make sure that you don't get certain information. So by the time you do get that information, you're already head over heels in love with him. So beware of that. Be careful of that. But if you're able to figure that out and you're able to meet these people and get the questions that you may have, do not go to their family asking too many questions, too many personal questions. They'll read right through you and they won't like you. So you got to come smooth. You got to come slow, soft. Become part of the group and just figure it out for yourself where they land. Again, no moving in together initially. No moving in together initially. On a long distance relationship, he should have whoever's moving into the city. I know at first it just doesn't make sense because of the cost and everything and whatever. But trust me when I tell you, have your personal space when you're first trying the long distance thing and you guys decide to be together. Make sure you don't just come in and move right in together. That's that because that requires a very long adjustment period. A very long adjustment period. A period of, oh, you're an early bird. You get up every morning at 4:30. I like to sleep till 11. Oh, you like to wash clothes every day. I like the hamper to build up and then do laundry on Tuesday. Oh, you're a wash the dishes right away type of person. I let it marinate in the water, man. I'm good. Oh, I pee in the middle of the night, leave the toilet seat down. Damn, I forgot. Yo, sorry about that. That's, you know what I mean? These are the things that you learn. So you have to put it all in focus and understand that, yo, let me have my place. We'll play house for a little while. You come over, even if, you start to, slowly kind of integrate yourself into each other's lives, really understand, what kind of people they are. You know what I'm saying? Again, all the communication in the world is not going to tell me um, that you don't eat leftovers. It's not. We talk about it, but until I see it, that it just doesn't. You know what I mean? There's things that happen in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we thought we agreed on how to raise children, and then I see you with your children every day, and I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not sure I could do that. No, I don't like the way you handle that. That's stuff you could only learn when you're finally there with somebody, when you're finally in. We have what do you call it? I also have so we're gonna talk about this more. I can't wait till Pastor Fred comes back and he's healthy because I really want to cover some stuff. He shifted last minute, so I had to kind of pivot. I wanted to talk about the long distance thing, but we're gonna get back to that only because I have a pressing, what I call a pressing uh, uh, situation that came into my dropping knives. It really like tugged at my heart, so I wanted to share it. Have it. It says, let me see if I get up. Dear dropping dimes, I'm a woman of a certain age. I've been out and about for many, many years of this game. I was in a loving relationship for many years. My relationship ended when my husband passed away. I was crushed. He was the love of my life. I've been hurting and mourning ever since. But 5 years have passed, and now I feel like it's time. It's time that I step out. And I remember him clearly telling me that when he was sick, that eventually he would want me to step back out into the world. But I'm scared. Times have changed. People have changed. The world has changed. I'm not the same. I lack the confidence. What should I do? Please help. Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for coming to me with that question. I really, really, really appreciate it that you would take the time to ask me that question. Um, so I'm gonna just touch on it in parts. First and foremost, my condolences on the loss of your husband, and I'm glad that he was able to at least say those words to you where he told you to step out and go out into the real world. You know what I'm saying? To not he didn't he's giving you, I don't want to call it permission, but he's okay with you going out to be the best version of you. Plenty of time has passed, and I know it'll never get easier. It might it's always gonna hurt, and he's always gonna be the love of your life. That won't change. But I also want you to get excited. I want you to get excited about this new phase in your life, because this new phase in your life is not necessarily about dating and meeting a man. This new phase in your life is about rediscovering who you are. I know I'm sure you've done a lot of healing and a lot of work on yourself over the years, but even with that, this is a new phase where you now embark on rediscovering the woman in you. By the woman in you, I mean the woman that other men see, that other men pay attention to. Now, here's the deal: it's perfectly natural to feel like because you have not been in the loop that you are that that it's hard, right? But I'll give you and I hope women could chime in and tell you how, what if they've been through it or they've been through something similar, how they can help you. But I'm going to tell you how men look at you, right? And I know, I call myself the feminist with chauvinist tendencies because sometimes even in my analogies, I can't help it, but the way I have to put it out, but I do. Here's how it goes. I got a friend that went to his uncle's farm. His uncle had passed away. He's about 44, 45 years old. He goes to that farm, and in the back, there's a shed. And when he opened that shed, he saw something covered. And he was like, whoa, it looks like a car. And when he went, he pulled the cover off the car. And it was a mint condition, like a 1996, 95 uh, 5.0, like a Mustang, one of those really cool Mustangs from from his childhood. Like, you know what I'm saying? When he was in his 20s and early, that Mustang that he was in love with, that was the car of his dreams. Okay. And what he realized is that it hadn't been driven. It was kind of in park that whole time. It needed a little bit of TLC. The car needed a little TLC. It still had like its original wraps on certain parts of it that hadn't been explored, hadn't been turned on, hadn't been used, hadn't been put to the test. And I remember him telling me he grabbed that car and he treated it like it was brand new. Like it was not a 1996. To him, it was a 2020. At the time, it was 2020. A 2020. It was brand new to him. This car meant the world to him. Miss, I'm not trying to objectify you. I'm not. But I really want you to. I hope I'm able to drive this home. In this analogy, you are the car. You are what some man has. You're some man, some little boy's dream. A dream that he meets you, a woman that essentially has been in park. When it comes to the dating scene and all that stuff for many years. And before that, you were married, so you were preserved in your marriage. And he's gonna look at you and he's gonna treat you like you are brand new. That age attached to you, that woman of a certain age, that means nothing to him. Nothing. When he gets his hands on you, you will be that Mustang. You will be the dream car. He will explore parts of you that have never been explored. He will turn parts on in you that you didn't know you had. He'll put the TLC in to make sure that it's working at its optimum. He'll do everything it takes to protect. And when he shows it off, he's going to show that car off like it's brand new. And he's going to show it to the world because he's going to love that car. And again, in this analogy, you are that car. Lady, there's going to be a man that when he meets you, you're literally everything he's ever prayed for. Every perk that you have, every flaw is going to be perfectly imperfect for him. It's going to be what makes you unique. It's going to be, you're going to find a man that loves you, flaws and all. He's going to see, maybe the stretch marks. He's going to see the imperfections. He's going to see maybe the food pot. He's going to see all that. You know what he's going to see? He's going to see a work of art. He's going to see his dream car, and he's going to invest in you. So don't think for a minute that because you have not been in the game that you're not worth anything. Your value is just as high as the day you stepped out of the game. I promise you that. To the right person, to the right man. The right man will look at you and he will give you. Where a man sees value, the decision to commit to you is easy, and he will commit to you because he sees your worth. He sees it. Now, again, let's go back to the analogy. You have a guy that comes in and he sees that a Mustang, maybe that wasn't his dream car. That's gonna happen too. You know what I mean? You'll run into that. You'll run into men where no, you're not their cup of tea. But that's part for the course. That's one of the things you're gonna have to go through. Now, all I ask is that you ask get the answer to one question. When you're dating these men, you need the answer to one question and only one question. That question is, does that person love themselves? If you can answer that question, proceed. If you cannot answer that question and it's touch and go and you're not sure, you can proceed, but proceed with caution. If you choose to date online, follow me on Instagram and I'll help you and I'll show you some of the ropes when it comes to that. Or I have a good friend, C. Marie B. She's fantastic and wrote a book about online dating. So there's resources out there. You're not alone. You're not alone. The truth is, the narrative is that, when you step out at a certain age, the dating pool has piss in it. I'm here to tell you that's a false narrative. It's not true. It's not true. What it is a lot of people have false expectations. A lot of people are rigid. So as a woman that's stepping back out into this world, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to I like to call it hurdles and obstacles. Some people that have been on here have heard me talk about it before. Obstacles are things that come up in your life that block your blessings. Unfortunately, there's traumas, mistrust. There's things that have happened in your past. Those are um, obstacles that no man could overcome. Those you have to help him over. No man could just do that alone. But I will warn you, and I will tell you this: set up some hurdles. Set up some hurdles for yourself. What does that mean? A hurdle is something that you put up, right? You put it up intentionally when you're dating. Why do you put up this hurdle? You put up this hurdle to tell the difference between a boy and a man. Okay, it can be something simple that requires just a little bit of effort, just a little bit of work. Remember, I've always told you, men are like water. We take the path of least resistance. So a boy will walk up to that hurdle, look at it. I'm not climbing that. That's too high. And then proceed to try to convince you to lower your standard. But remember, the only man that complains about the standard is the man that cannot meet it. So the hurdle is important because the boy won't even attempt it. Now here comes a man. A man sees the hurdle and says, examines it, figures it out, and says, okay, I'm going to try. And even if he doesn't make it over, you reward him for the attempt. You reward him for the attempt because the attempt is what made him the man. Because he's saying, you are worth this hurdle. Whatever this bar is, I'm willing to go try to achieve it and make it. And you need to give him credit for that. The other thing is, I need you to understand the difference between your absolutes and your negotiables. As a new person in the world, you can't come in rigid. See, a lot of people come in very rigid and they're set in their ways. And this is how I grew up, and this is how I did it, and this is how I achieved the success that I've achieved in my life, and this is what I need. The truth is, the person that's across from you probably feels the same way. And because they feel the same way, you have two people clashing and not willing to compromise on certain things. So now there's your negotiables. Your negotiables are things like he's heavy into sports. He needs his Sundays. Yeah, when you're younger, you may not want a guy that watches sports, and you may demand that no, I don't need that. I want fine. But as you get older, you're gonna run into men that yo, you know what? That's how they decompress. Now, an absolute looks more like I need him to have a good heart. I need him to be intelligent. Have something to talk about. I'll be well spoken. I need him to not be an alcoholic, not do drugs. I need him, to take care of himself. Absolute could be I need him to perform in bed. Men get to a certain age and they stop performing. You be like, I need you to perform in bed if you're going to be with me. That's an absolute. You know what I mean? Sometimes negotiables look like, um, you know, oh, I need you to curb your diet a little bit, but he likes to have pizza once a week. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna. You know what I mean? See the difference? There's negotiables. There's whatever. So I'm gonna go back and say this. I was hoping more women would chime in to kind of help you out and kind of give you a little bit, maybe if they had been through something like this. But it's still not too late. It's still not too late. Um, I really want you to be excited. I really want you to be excited about this new part of your life. I want you to be excited about what you're going to learn about yourself. I want you to be excited about the places that now you can go and open up and be social in the circles that you may want to be social in because it's going to expose you to a whole new set of people, whole new set of friends, whole new set of adventures. The most important thing that I leave you with here today is you are love worthy. Above all else, you are love worthy. You deserve love. You deserve it. You're a good woman. You know, God may have taken the love of your life away, but it doesn't mean you can't love again. And what I ask you to do is start with yourself. Start with loving yourself, and the rest will follow. I promise you that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I always like to close my show with my favorite quote. Mark Twain said, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you discover why. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I am your host, Mr. Underscore Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. This has been season 1, episode 11, long, long, far away. And I want to thank you for walking in my way. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Do, 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 do.